everyone. So with fall being next week, the first official day of fall is next week. I am so excited. I love the fall so much. I love everything about it. So today, this is the first fall look that I'm doing for the year. I just decided to jump right in it. I got my fall nails done last week. Just last night, I did my hair. I call this fire hair. I'm ready for fall. This is just a fall makeup video, and I'm just gonna show you what I did to my face and everything that I used, and so hopefully maybe you can recreate this too, or at least something very similar for the start of fall. Yay! Okay, so let's get started. I've already put moisturizer on my face, so now I'm using the L'Oreal Magic Lumi Light Infusing Primer. I really enjoy this. This is really good stuff. Next, I'm going to prime my eyes using the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. It's the original formula. Okay, so now that I have my eyes primed, we're going to move on to eyeshadow. This is the Avon brand Mocha Latte Quad palette. Here is the only shimmery color. The rest of them are all matte. Okay, so we're going to be using the darker matte shade of this. This is the darkest shade in this quad. And I'm using, this is just an e.l.f. eyeshadow brush. So that is what I'm using today. And I'm just going to dip this. I just dip it, tip of my brush. And I'm going in my crease of my eye. You want to go all the way. So now with an Eco Tools eyeshadow brush, I'm going to be dipping into this lighter shade right there, and we're gonna go just on the lid area of the eye. Now with a different eyeshadow brush, this is the Elizabeth Mott. I'm using a different palette now. It's not a name brand palette, and I'm just gonna be using some of these colors in through here. They're very warm. So I am going to be dipping into this shade right there. It's like a orangey color, and it's shiny. It's like a metallic almost. Putting this in the corner of my eye, just on the outside, just all over on the outside until you get to the crease. Okay, so now I'm going to be dipping into this color. This is that color we just used. Now I'm dipping into this color, and we're going to go back on my crease. Next, with an e.l.f. eye crease brush, actually, I'm going to hit the brow bone. I like using the smaller brush on my brow bone just because it's easier to get to. It's easier to use in the small area of your eye. Next, I'm using just a blending brush, and I'm with no product on it at all. I'm just going in and I'm going to blend out some of this. Okay, so I'm not completely done with my eyes, but I am going to stop right there for now, and now that's when I move on to my next step, which is the foundation and powder. I use Revlon New Complexion. It is just like a wet to dry. You put it on, it's really creamy, and then it dries, and then it becomes a powder. It dries like a powder. So that's what I use. This is my favorite thing ever. I love this powder. so it works kind of like a foundation. Now I do use the pad that it comes with it. Sometimes though I will use a wet sponge like a beauty blender and kind of blend it out that way, but I still just really like the pad that it comes with. So here we go. Okay, next we're going to contour. I am using the Pixie by Petra bronzer. It's a nice shade. First up I'm going to do is my nose, and I'm taking the e.l.f. contour brush. It's just a small brush. Looks similar to an eye crease brush. And I'm just dipping this on just the very tip of it. I want to make sure I don't go anywhere else. And that's when I'm just going to do my nose right here and right there. Okay. This is an e.l.f. brush, but I use it for contouring. It looks like a contouring brush. I'm not sure. So starting at your hairline, you want to go about mid-cheek or so. It helps if you do a fish face. That way you can really see where your cheekbones are at. And that's where you want it at. And then I'm going to do my jaw, just the jawline itself, right on the bone. It gives it a shadow effect, and same with the perimeter of your hairline, pretty much your whole perimeter of your face. This is the Expert Face Brush by Real Techniques. This is what I use to blend out my bronzer. Next, we're using concealer. Today I'm using the Revlon Color Stay concealer. This is just the lightest shade there is. Comes in a stick, little wand, one strip down the nose, little on the chin, under the eye, go down, and a little bit right here on the forehead, making like a little flower thing. I am taking a wet beauty sponge. This is from Ulta. And you just kind of want to dab and like pat to blend all that out. I forgot to put this down here too. You need to stick this aligned and aligned right underneath your cheekbone contour. This helps to really make just a sharp line where your contour is. It gives it a nice effect. It's really dark and then really light. Next, I'm taking a kabuki brush and just kind of patting and dabbing back over my contour. Be careful with your nose. You really do not want to rub this in very much on your nose area. Otherwise, your nose will be a much darker shade than the rest of your face. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my eyes. So the same dark color, this first one that we used, I'm dipping back into that with the same brush. And we're going to line the bottom of my eye with the lower lash line. And then with the same brush, dipping into that one again. And we're also going to line the eye in the same spot as we just lined before. Now I'm taking the blending brush from earlier and we're using that to kind of blend out and kind of smoke out, I guess, the bottom lashes here. Okay, so now I'm using a different Avon palette, and there is this really pretty like orangey brown shade. That's what I'm using next. And just with the blender brush, I'm taking that color and I'm going to go back over this on the corners here just a little bit. I don't want to do too much. Next, I'm going to be using a ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Get Paid. I'm just lining, so again, what I just did, I'm going to line my eye again and then put the same a little bit in my waterline. Okay, so I went ahead and I did my top. I lined my top as well, but I only went about halfway with the liner. I didn't go all the way in the corner. So that's what that looks like. Next, we're going to put on mascara. Okay, so we are using the Tarte Tartiste mascara. I've never used this before. I got this in my Ipsy bag. For this month. I just got this week. Okay, so I like the brush itself. That's really nice. It's big. We'll see how it works. I really like the way this is applying. The bristles feel so good in my lashes. I feel like this brush, this wand, I feel like it's touching every single one of my lashes at one time, and it's awesome. This mascara is great. Look how long my eyelashes look. I haven't even curled my lashes yet. Holy moly. It's great. Okay, so now that I curl my lashes, we are moving on to blush. This is the CoverGirl Insta Cheekbones in the shade Sophisticated Sable. Now this is a brand new one. I have not opened it yet, but I am going to be using the one that I already do have open. It's almost out. So I'm going into the middle shade here. Next, I'm using the lighter shade, and that's just going to go right over what I just did. With the same brush, by the way. This is just an Eco Tools blush brush. Now we're doing highlighter. I'm using ColourPop highlighter in the shade Dreamcatcher. It's a pretty gold color. And because it is creamy, I like to use my finger for this. So I'm just going right under my eyes, my cheekbone, a little bit by my brow right there. The heat from your finger warms up the product, and I find it easier to use that way when I use my finger. And then without dipping back into what I just had, I'm putting a little bit on my nose right here. Now I'm going to be using a second highlighter, and it's going to be Physicians Formula in the shade Translucent Pearl. I'm just taking my fan brush and dipping into that and going directly back over the other highlighter that I just did. When I use a creamy highlighter, such as the ColourPop highlighters, I love the ColourPop highlighters, but they're creamy. And I feel just, they don't dry all the way, so throughout the day they might smear a little bit. I like to use a second highlighter. Maybe not a whole lot of a second highlighter, but I do like to use a second one just to kind of set in the first creamy highlighter. Very lightly I am going over this. Yes, I'm rubbing and dabbing, but I'm not doing just a ton. And then we'll do a little bit on the nose. Okay. And just to kind of blend some of that back out, I'm using my blush brush that I just used and just kind of lightly tapping and dabbing on my face to kind of blend in the highlighter and the blush. There's not a direct line. Alright, so we're doing lips. Now, I used this color in my last video, but I just really love this color, and for this particular look that I'm doing, I think it's going to look awesome. It's the Urban Decay Wildfire. It's metallicized. It's just such a pretty color. It's like an orangey, goldish. It's got little gold flakes in it. This is what we're using today. Yeah, so I'm really loving this look. I think it's really pretty. I think it's good for fall. Fall, the official first day of fall is next week. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Even though it'll still be 90 degrees here in Texas. That's okay. Okay, so now we're going to be using the setting spray, and this is the final step for today. It's the Urban Decay De-Slick Makeup Setting Spray. I have oily skin, so I really like to use this. It really does help, I feel like. So you're just going to shake it up and then just mist your face. Okay, and so that completes today's look. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you really enjoyed this, and I hope maybe you learned something new, or maybe a new product or something. If not though, this was just a really fun video to make, and I enjoy doing this. So until then, I will see you next time. Bye.